Hi, Miss Fireball here. So let's chat it up for a bit. Recruiters, stop playing in my face. Yes, I said what I said. So let's get into it. So, about 2 months ago now, I got an email from a recruiter in my inbox with this job opening that she said she had for a client, the leasing position. The salary was in the $80,000 range. It was for renewals, a lease up, hybrid position. And I'm reading it like, yes, this is me. I want this. I need this. I could do this. So she's like, oh, would you be interested in talking about this role? I said, absolutely. So we scheduled for a phone conversation. About 2 days later, it's a nice, long, chatty conversation for about 30 minutes. She told me about the role, the client. She asked about my background, my expectations. And we ended the conversation by her saying, she would email me the job description when we hung up, and she would reach out to the client immediately and get me scheduled for an interview. Okay, so I'm all excited, right? Because I'm unemployed, I need a job. And well, it's been about 2 months now, and I have not heard from that recruiter again, right? So that leads me to the question of, why do recruiters do that, right? They reach out to you because I didn't look for you, you found me. They get you all excited about a position. They tell you about it. They give you hope. Like it's like they're dangling this carrot in your face, and then slowly but slowly it gets pulled away into poof, they're gone, and so is the carrot. So I'm really like frustrated. I'm really trying to understand, why do recruiters, hiring managers, these so-called, what they call themselves, talent acquisition specialists, all these HR managers, like, why do they do that? Why can't they just be upfront and honest and say, you know what, the role is on hold, or we reconsidered bringing you in as a candidate for the position? Something. Give us something. There's no update, right? Sometimes there's no follow up. There's no explanation. Like, why are they doing that? Why are they wasting our time? I mean, people are out here trying to find jobs, and you're giving us false hope. And this is why I'm asking, like, so now, you're back to square one. Like, make that make sense. Like, are these even real jobs? Or are we applying to the idea? Like, are these real jobs anyway, or just jobs that is going to be made up in the future? I mean, what are they doing? Because honestly, to me, it feels like they're just collecting resumes. They're not placing people. I mean, are they trying to fill a quota? They're just collecting resumes and to show their shareholders, oh, we're doing work, we're keeping busy, we're reaching out to all these people. We're just, reaching out to them and giving them fake hope. But look, we're trying to stay busy. We're doing something to earn our paycheck. Because honestly, I have not had much success with many recruiters. And I purposely, for many years, have not dealt with recruiters. And there have been times where I needed a job, but I was like, I really don't want to go through a recruiter. I can find one on my own because they're unprofessional. They don't follow up. They get you all excited, and then, like I say, it's like they leave you on the side of the road like a broken down car and just abandoned. Now, I'm sure there are some great recruiters out there. This is not an episode to bash every recruiter in the world. I'm not talking about one particular recruiter. I'm just talking about the system in general. However, I have dealt with a recruiter recently during my transition route now to unemployment. I did once again had another recruiter reach out to me through LinkedIn. They saw my profile with the same one liner they all use. I came across your resume. It was an impressive background, and I thought this position would be perfect for you. Okay. Let's go. However, the position was not the perfect position for me. It was a lowly paying position. And I found out inadvertently at the copy machine when my invoice was lying there from the temp agency how much of a markup this temp agency did on my rate. And I basically was collecting the peanuts. But they place you in these positions and then that's it. You never hear from them again. You don't hear from them again until something happens, right? And usually when something bad happens, like you're being let go. And then when they call you to let you go, in my case, it was a whole bunch of questioning at the beginning of the phone call that I got after hours from this recruiter. And, he starts off the conversation by saying, "So, hey, yeah, I'm just checking in. I want to see how things are going there. Did the company discuss with you what their plans are for you, your future there, the position, your role?" And I said, "No, they haven't said anything like that to me about anything. I'm there every day and they give me the work they want me to do." So he says, "Well, yeah, I'm going to let you know. They said it's not working out. And today was your last day." And I was like, "What?" I actually breathed a sigh of relief and I laughed and I giggled and I said, thank God I could go back to collecting unemployment. And he said, I said, "What happened? What was the reason?" And he said, "Well, something about your attitude." My attitude. It had to be the most unprofessional environment in an office that I worked in quite a while. So, you guys, if you want to hear about that, please visit the first episode. More on that. But in that moment, when I told him that there was no complaints ever to my face ever in the 7 weeks that I was there, he was all upset. He says, "I can't believe this. I need to know what's going on there. What happened? What happened?" And I did tell him my displeasure about the environment, the things that were going on there. Were not my cup of tea and they made me very uncomfortable. But hey, I needed a job and I just, I just did I kind of like tried to tune it out and just did what I needed to do. But he was like so upset. "Well, I need to get to the bottom of this. I need to know what happened." So I said, "Honestly, I really don't care. I'm fine, thank you." But it's like in that moment, it seemed like he was upset because his money got messed with, right? Because temp agency was charging $42 an hour for my services, and I was getting $20 an hour. So in that moment, right, he's thinking about his money, his paycheck, because I just cost him his money, right? That's probably what he was thinking. So he needed to know what happened, you know? I guess he figured like his job was done. He placed me, check mark. Like I said, they marked up the rate, check mark, 2 times. He got his commission, triple check mark. So he was done with me. And now he got a call and be like, "Hey, what happened? You cost me my money." Nothing. I didn't do anything to cost you your money. If you had did some aftercare, you checked in, I would have told you there were some issues there with the job. Maybe you could have placed me someplace else. But that's the thing. It's like, it's just a transaction and we're done. So it seems like, there's a double standard out here, right? Us job seekers, we must be professional all times. But recruiters, please, silence with them is acceptable, seems like. There's no accountability, there's nothing. And then you have the recruiters, right, who keep sending you the same job over and over again that you've already said no to. Like, do they keep notes? Or are we just a name in their system that they just keep recycling through? Because I've had one staffing agency that's based, it's not even based in America from what I've done my research online. And they've sent me the same job uh, at last count 7 times and 7 different recruiters. And I've at some point, like by the fourth time, I've said, my experience does not align with this position. I mean, hello, nicely. Did you read my resume? Can you please stop sending me this job ad? Or can you please speak to your coworkers? Like everybody in the office has reached out to me about this job, which I don't want. Not the job I do want, you don't reach back out to me about. And don't get me wrong, was not meant to be a tirade or rant about recruiters. It's just the system, the pattern that I've seen since I've dealt with several recruiters who have hyped me up, called me, emailed me, told me about a position. I sent them my resume and there was nothing after that. There was no follow up from them. And I reached out to them and again, crickets. So it's just like something that the recruiters do in the industry. It's like a well known fact. We contact people about fake jobs. I don't know what's going on. So I'm pretty sure there are some great recruiters out there. My hat's off to them who do communication, follow up, aftercare, check ins, all that, and get you a fair wage for their services. Uh, Kudos to those recruiters. But then you have the other side, which is what I'm talking about today. See, communication goes both ways, right? Respect goes both ways. It should, but apparently it doesn't. See, and this right here, this is why some people don't trust the process. Not because they don't want to work, but because the system doesn't always work for them, right? So yeah, recruiters, hiring managers, talent acquisition specialists, you need to do better. Maybe y'all should learn some professionalism from the job seekers. All right, y'all. I'm Miss Fireball. And this podcast, it might be unemployed, but we're still working. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Until next time, guys, stay lit.